We have more breaking news. Harvey Weinstein convicted of one charge and acquitted of another in the retrial of his sex crimes case in New York. He was convicted for the alleged assault of a former production assistant and found not guilty on a charge stemming from an assault allegation from 2002. Jurors are still unable to reach a verdict on a third charge that he raped another woman in 2013. And even more breaking news, a news conference happening right now. LA Mayor Karen Bass and other regional mayors are calling for a stop to the ICE raids and the end of the presence of federal troops in SoCal. You can see that they are assembling now, and we're waiting for them to speak in just a moment. We spoke with Mayor Bass, actually joined us on the show earlier this morning. And, you know, she has been saying that the protests, of course, in response to these ICE raids are an issue, that the rhetoric she's dealing with President Trump and deploying the National Guard without the permission of the governor or herself is also an issue. But she really says at the heart of this is these ICE raids, which she wants to see stopped. She says they're bringing fear into the community, and she's stepping up to the podium now.
Mayor Lemons over here.
Everybody ready? Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just say that I am proud to stand here with leaders from our region. There are over 30 mayors represented here who I think reflect the concerns that are going on in our communities right now. A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place, and it's important that I begin there because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know. I posit that maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction, and frankly, leaving our city and our citizens, our residents, in fear. All of us represent cities in this region where immigrants are key, and if in some cases not the majority of the population. To have people live in fear like it is today is just unacceptable. So we started off by hearing the administration wanted to go after violent felons, gang members, drug dealers. But when you raid Home Depots and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you're not trying to keep anyone safe. You're trying to cause fear and panic. And when you start deploying federalized troops on the heels of these raids, it is a drastic and chaotic escalation and completely unnecessary. These aren't the criminals the administration is allegedly targeting. These are mothers and fathers, restaurant workers, seamstress, home care workers, everyday Angelenos trying to make a living. We've heard stories of unmarked federal vans parked near LAUSD school graduations, a U.S. citizen 9 months pregnant who was hospitalized after being detained by federal agents, and an apparel business in downtown LA raided, where many Korean and Latino workers work long hours to support their families. Let me just say that I am very proud to stand here with the mayors, the leadership of so many cities, but you should take note that the individuals that are here with me today are all leaders in their area, and we all stand in support and solidarity and call for the raids to end. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Lemons from the city of Paramount.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, for bringing us together today and for your leadership in this difficult time. I stand before you today as the mayor of Paramount, a proud, tight-knit community that has been deeply shaken by recent events. In the last few days, our residents have faced loss, uncertainty, and fear. For many in our city, this has been one of the most devastating moments in recent memory. Lives have been disrupted, families are too afraid to leave their homes, and the very places that once served as gathering spots for joy, like our beloved swap meet, have been marred by fear. As a vibrant gathering place for our diverse community, some are avoiding going to work. It continues to get worse as these loyal vendors are forced to stay away out of fear of losing their livelihood. For some, it's the only way they feed their families. To see everyone hurt like this is heartbreaking. Last night at our city council meeting, we heard from our residents. Their anger, their fear, and their uncertainty about the future is understandable. Not only did we hear it last night, myself and members of the City Council witnessed the devastation firsthand that Saturday morning. We share the same anger, sadness, and trauma. Then to see the presence of the National Guard in our city, it only makes things worse and leads to unnecessary escalation. We can and will do better to serve and advocate for our immigrant population. I want to speak directly to the people of Paramount. We see you, we hear you, and we are with you. We acted last night and directed staff to create a special fund that will financially help our immigrant families affected during this challenging time. And it doesn't stop there. The City Council and staff are working tirelessly to develop other means of support and assistance, doing more to support our community. We will also be seeking out our residents who have been directly impacted so that we may hear from them and provide direct support. Paramount is resilient. We've been through challenges before, and we will rise together. We are also grateful for the regional collaboration that's happening right now. We cannot face this alone. This is a moment for cities to stand united, regardless of our boundaries, because when one community is hurting, we all feel it. To our neighboring cities, to the county, to the state agency, and to Mayor Bass, thank you for extending a hand to our residents. Your support means the world. And next we have Arturo Flores, Mayor Arturo Flores from Huntington Park.
Thank you so much, Mayor Lemons, for those remarks. Good morning. My name is Arturo Flores. I am the mayor of the beautiful city of Huntington Park. I myself am a combat veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I've served in the theaters of Iraq and Afghanistan in defense of this country and in defense of the Constitution of the United States. Militarization of immigration enforcement has no place in our neighborhoods. And the deployment of Marines on U.S. soil is an alarming escalation that undermines the values of democracy. As mayors across this region, we stand united in rejecting fear-based tactics that target immigrant communities and erode public trust. Let me say that one more time. We stand against these fear-based tactics that target immigrant communities and erode public trust. We call on federal leaders to uphold civil rights and end the militarization of enforcement and to pursue humane, community-centered solutions. Our communities are not battlegrounds. Deploying military forces and conducting militarized ICE raids in immigrant neighborhoods is not about public safety. It is about political theater that is rooted in fear. It threatens families, traumatizes children, and corrodes the foundational trust between local government and the people that we serve. I stand shoulder to shoulder with Mayor Bass and with my fellow leaders and fellow mayors here, and any leader who values justice over intimidation. We will protect our residents, we will speak out against unconstitutional actions, and we will continue to build cities where all people, regardless of immigration status, can live without fear. I understand that the deployment of 700 Marines out of 29 Palms, and I believe the unit is 27, have been deployed to the Los Angeles area. I have a message for those Marines who are probably watching. Brothers, I myself have fought in different theaters. I fought wars. And I will tell you this, the people that you are here who have been called foreigners are not foreigners. These are Americans. And when we lifted our hands and we swore the oath to defend the Constitution and to defend this country, that oath was to the American people. It was not to a dictator. It was not to a tyrant. It was not to a president. It was to the American people. And the people that are here in these communities, in the city of LA, and the cities that you'll hear from, are Americans. Whether they have a document or they don't, you're dealing with Americans. So please remember that. If you're ever put in a situation or asked to do something, remember, you are dealing with Americans. With that being said, up next I'll introduce Mayor Judith Merlot from the city of Vernon. Sí, en español, mi nombre es Arturo Flores, yo soy el alcalde de la ciudad de Huntington Park. Estoy aquí hoy yo como veterano de los Estados Unidos, de la Marina, para decirle al público que lo que está pasando no está bien. Yo he peleado en guerras.
Okay, yeah, we are going to continue to watch this. We are listening to Mayor Arturo Flores right now of Huntington Park, delivering the message he just delivered to Spanish speakers. And he is joining other mayors along with LA Mayor Karen Bass and also the mayor of Paramount, Mayor Lemon spoke earlier. They are all calling for an end to ICE raids and echoing the same message. They want these raids to stop, saying that they are causing fear to immigrant communities. Of course, these are the mayors of areas where we have seen protests since last Friday. They've talked about the impact that has had on daily life for immigrants in their communities, from graduations to people who are just trying to go to work. Mayor Bass joined us earlier this morning and echoed the same sentiments again, saying that the Trump administration said that they would be targeting gang leaders and criminals with these raids, and that that is not what's happening. We're going to tap back into this press conference.
Thank you, Mayor, for having us. As mayor of the city of Vernon, I want to reaffirm our city's unwavering commitment to the safety, dignity, and well-being of individuals, regardless of immigration status. I'm here today to stand in solidarity with Mayor Bass and the other local elected officials facing immigration raids and military presence in their cities. These recent events have been stressful and upsetting for many. In many challenging times, I want to reassure you, the people of Los Angeles, Southeast Los Angeles, and throughout the region, that we are your public servants, your neighbors, and your active partners, striving to maintain safe and inclusive communities. Thank you. I am now going to present Mayor Maria Davila from Southgate.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bass, for uniting all the mayors of the city of LA and the surrounding cities. As a mayor of the city of Southgate, I'm at whole with everything that is going on and how ICE is scaring our communities. Just as we were on our way over here, we were notified that they were raiding the city of Southgate, and that's unacceptable. Because you're targeting communities, you're targeting residents where children are living, where they reside. And this is unacceptable. It is hard for us as elected officials to hear that a person who is representing us up in the federal level is capable of doing such a horrendous, just unbelievable things to our constituents and to our people. We understand, that we have to uphold the law, but at the same time, we need to understand that we have families who are scared. We have residents who are scared. We have parents. We have children. Now our children are out of school. And what are they going to do? Are they going to be kept at home just because, the raids are continuing here in our communities? That's unacceptable. We need to continue being united and let Washington, D.C. understand that this is a community of immigrants. We are all immigrants. I am an immigrant myself. I came to the United States, and I am working for our community. The current action of ICE treats immigrants as criminals. We are not criminals. We are hardworking people. We came to the United States to work, to better our families. The humanizing and targeting people who often threat, Southgate stands with our surrounding cities and to all our community. The people of the city of Southgate, I'm talking to you. You are not alone. We are here with you, and we are going to be helping and also making sure that everyone is safe. So with that, I am going to be calling up Mayor from Ventura, Jeanette Sanchez Palacio.
Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning still, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Mayor Bass, for inviting us. Thank you to all the mayors who are here throughout California. And while you may see many of us, there are many more who are not here, who could not be here with us today, but who support this effort in being united together. We are outraged and heartbroken by the recent and ongoing ICE activities targeting immigrant families in our community. These actions are not only inhumane, but they are also an affront to the values we uphold in Ventura, but also throughout the state of California. The city in Ventura in our region is an agricultural region. They are sustained by labor, resilience, and cultural richness of immigrant communities. And when our workforce lives are in fear, the fields will go unharvested. The impact is felt not only at the local level, but it will also be felt at the national level. Everything will be affected, and every American who is here and relies on the labor of these individuals will also be affected. These same individuals are also the community who held up the large portion of essential workforce while we were in the pandemic. These are the very workers who kept the state running, who kept our families fed, and who kept our lives safe. But most importantly, let's not forget that these people are also human. At the basic level, they are our friends, they are our family, and they are our loved ones. And as elected officials representing various cities across the state, we have come here together to condemn the separation of immigrant families. No one deserves to live in fear, simply for seeking a better life or for seeking a better life for themselves or their loved ones. And so we call for a swift and coordinated action by our federal officials to put an end to these destructive practices and instead focus on a comprehensive immigration reform. We call on our fellow elected leaders to raise their voices with courage and to center humanity in every decision they make. Ahora en español. Soy la alcaldesa Janet Sánchez Palacios.
All right, we are listening now to the mayor of Ventura, speaking with several mayors. She's delivering the message she just delivered in English and Spanish right now. And these mayors have all come together to call for an end to the ICE raids. They're all kind of echoing the same thing, the fear that these raids have brought to their communities. They have people in their communities who are afraid to go to work, afraid to function in everyday life. It's graduation season. Some of them are skipping that because they're just afraid of what is going to happen. All of these mayors have also criticized the presence of the military in their communities, which of course has become a political issue. Mayor Karen Bass has been denouncing that along with Governor Gavin Newsom, and now all of these mayors who have spoken today. We should say all of these mayors are of areas where Protests have been taking place since Friday, where raids have been taking place in their communities. We've heard from the mayors of course, LA Mayor Karen Bass, but Paramount, Huntington Park, Vernon, Southgate, and now Ventura County, again, translating her message in Spanish. It's also interesting, some of them are immigrants themselves and have spoken. We had Mayor Arturo Flores of Huntington Park talk about how he is a Marine veteran. So he had a special message appealing to the Marines who have also been brought in with the National Guard and reminding them to think of the humanity of the immigrants in these communities. We also heard the mayor of Ventura speaking about that as well just a moment ago, to remember that this, of course, they are calling for larger, comprehensive immigration reform and not these raids, which all these mayors are saying are disturbing their communities and leading to the protests and unrest that we have seen over the past few days. These mayors are not saying that the protests are the issues or that the National Guard needed to be brought in. They all agreed that the raids themselves and the way they're being carried out by the Trump administration are the issues. So let's check back into this press conference.
Thank you, everyone that spoke. Let me just say that of the leaders that are standing here, whether a raid took place in your city or not, it's the sense of fear that is spread when these raids take place. And I think everybody here knows that maybe today it was the city of Los Angeles, tomorrow it's one of your cities. When this type of chaotic behavior from Washington, D.C. is forced upon a city, upon all of our cities, then again, the fear and the terror that is in our populations is profound and very traumatizing. I've asked the mayors and other leaders that didn't have